Hello everyone, welcome back. It is very cold today, as you can see. Well, you cannot see. Let me just. As you can see, there is still snow. So, what I want to say with that is, it is very cold. I am quite surprised that we still had some snow. Let's see what the temperature is. It is. What? Oh my. -5 degrees Celsius. That's cold, but it doesn't feel that cold. It feels like maybe -1 degree or something. So it's okay. And as you can see as well, today we're practicing the Guan Dao or Da Dao. Let's name it Guan Dao from now on. I think that's easier for people to relate what that weapon is. So we're practicing the Guan Dao today. Reason for that is I don't need to practice it for any reason, but I have a new weapon, the Hansha, a Batwing Hansha from LK and I want to practice my Guan Dao form with the Hansha because you could almost say that it's a predecessor of this weapon. So I'm trying to do the form with the other one as well. But the problem I have is it's sharp, so it's like real. This is not sharp. This is not real. So like I can do this and nothing happens. If I want to stab someone with it, it's like very bendy and flexy, so it wouldn't go through. But the other one is real, like for real. So I don't dare to practice during the day with a real weapon outside because people might get scared, and yeah, so that's something I save up for later when the sun is rising a little bit more early in the morning. So maybe like at 5:30 or something in the morning, if the sun rises at that time, I can start practicing with the Hansha. Because I want to practice with the Hansha, I must not forget the Taolu with this beauty. So later on I will have it a little bit easier. So I only have to do the transfer. I only have to transfer the movements to the other weapon and not practice them that much again. So the more I can do now, the less I have to do later on, or the easier it will be later when I practice with the Hansha. I already practiced a little bit with it in a gym, like the gymnasium that we have, like for association, where we have our regular training with all the other people, including my sister and Vanessa, for example. Because that's a closed area and everyone knows that we're practicing with weapons and stuff, and that's also legal. But in a public space such as this, it's actually not that allowed. So I'm waiting for a time where it's not gonna be a problem to practice it. Let's go. Today I have to keep a little bit an eye on the battery because when it's that cold, the battery dies very quickly. So, but the ground is frozen. I like that. I really like that because for that, like, I can really do this without slipping because, like, I do slip a lot, but a little bit. But like, when it's not frozen, like, I'm really afraid of destroying the ground, having piles of dirt. Like even now, you can still see the remnants of my training. So, yeah, that's why I'm quite happy when the ground is frozen or dry. Well, I prefer frozen over dry. If it's frozen, it's hard but still grippy. If it's only dry, it's like dusty and stuff, and you tend to slip quite easily. So I don't prefer that as much. This one, Maybe I practiced this one a little bit today. So that movement is like that, chabu, and then down like this. And you have to go above a little bit like this. But I'm not very certain if I have to go up high and then down like this, or just a little bit. Just a second. Okay, let's continue. Let's go through it lightly and then see where we go from there. I think that's a good idea. Put on a good song. Yeah, that one's okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, this one is really hard to balance out. Jump, cut, down, turn. Let's just do 2 for now. And then jump, jump, down, 1, 2. Let's do this one again. Here comes the chabu and that one. 1, 2, up, down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whew. Oh, it's very cold. My lips are starting to dry out. I might have to do this just to keep them somewhat moisturized. So, what was the problem? The problem was that looks really funny, like a camel or something. So the problem was, what was the problem? I bet this looks really funny. The issues I had were the chabu thing and the other turn, like right in the beginning this turn. Yeah, right at the beginning the turn wasn't that great. It could be better. What else? The other turn, yes. And then generally the edge alignment. It's like really hard to do it with this thing because it has a round staff, and that's not very good if you have a blade to have a round staff. It's the same as if you were having a sword and the sword has a round grip, because you can't really tell the edge alignment by just holding it. So That's something that's different at the Hansha. The Hansha has like an oval grip and an oval staff, which makes it really easy to at least kind of get the edge alignment right, because you have a hint of how your edge is oriented. But with this, you really cannot tell, which is not great. And that also makes the balance feel very off. Speaking of balance, this movement here, this is really something. After this one, you do a cut here and then the kick. I really don't know how to do it good. The only thing that I can imagine how to do it is like this, keeping this Guan Dao fairly close to your body, like this. But it's still, if you pull this one back here, it still makes you twist like that. And the counter movement from your leg is not enough. So maybe, yeah, but then you don't have reach. I don't know if that makes any sense. Let's see. So I'm here. Yeah, that would work, but like then you're like this. And generally you want to have your weapon close to your body, because that makes it easy to control. So I'm not that sure about how this movement should be performed. Maybe if I can do it like this, so I pull this one close to here and have this one extended out. Maybe then the force, the weight of the blade isn't dragging in the back here, but it like goes close to my body, where it doesn't have that much torque that makes my body twist. That makes sense, I think, because the lever is smaller. If I have it here, it has that much leverage. If I have it here, it only has the blade itself as leverage. So that equals to less torque on my body, if you see my body as the axle. I think that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Well, I'm not sure. Good, okay. Let's go again, right? Right. Let's just go through it lightly again. So I think most of you already noticed that most of my training is only going through the, oh, I forgot the movement. Going through the Tao loose, through the sets very lightly, to not forget them. Which is very true. I think one component of me doing that most of the times is I'm lazy. And another component is you actually don't need to practice that hard, that much. You need to practice hard at some point, especially for the foundational things, so for the stances and all these things, to get them right. Okay, so the kick feels good, but then after the kick, the cut feels off. Ah, no, it's okay actually. What I really like to do is practice these things so that I really know them by heart. All the movements went into my flesh and my blood, so I don't need to think about them anymore. And when I don't have to think about them anymore, then I can start making the movements perfect. I'm not doing the jumps today because it's very cold and I don't want to risk too much. So after this movement, you should actually go back, take a step back like this, but because of camera, I usually tend to make a step forward. So like this, that's also fine. If you know how the set is performed and the movements are performed originally, and you stick with it and don't change them, there isn't that much of a problem when doing something like this. And then whoop, forward, uppercut, down, cut, stab, block, cut, parry, cut, salute. Great, not bad. Oh my lips. 2 times. Let's see if we can get up to 5 times at least. Another thing that's very obvious is training with the Guan Dao. Really is a lot more fatiguing and a lot harder than training with a sword or with empty hands, because this thing is a little bit heavy. 3.5 kilos. That's this many pounds. Yeah. So swinging that thing around you all the time, that's something. The hansha, I think, that I have is about the same weight, but it's bigger. And the weight is even more distributed to both ends. So you have like, the hansha is basically a sword on a stick with a cross guard. And the staff, the stick goes up until here, and then you have the blade on top, so it's a lot longer. And you don't have this middle part. This middle part, for those who are curious, is only for transportation. So you can like screw it apart and then like take both halves of the Guan Dao and put them next to each other, so you can reduce the length. With this weapon, it's not that big of a problem, because the stick is usually very stiff and doesn't need to work. With a qiang, with a spear, it's a little bit, or lance, it's a little bit harder to do that. I still have a lance with it, because if you have a spear you can practice with, that's not perfect, but you can at least practice with it. You take that and practice with it. But this middle section, when doing spear movements, works actually a lot. So you preferably don't want to have this metal unscrewy thing. But the one that I have, the spear which I can screw apart, with that specific model, it works actually pretty well. So yeah. Okay, let's wait for the, what is it called? Not peasant, bystander? Not bystander. Peasant is such a mean word. For the woman with the dog. Let's wait for her to go by and then continue practicing. Great. Yeah. So let's see. Can you see this? How it's like wiggling? And that's the reason why this is only a practice weapon. Like, real weapons do wiggle, but like, if you have it in your hand and you wiggle a little bit, you can feel that it's not a real weapon. It's not something you could really use. And for me, I really have that when I know that something is not real and cannot be used in a real situation. I don't care if it's a real situation nowadays or 2,000 years ago. If it's a real situation, it's a real situation. And if you have something that you know and you feel that you cannot use it in a real situation, my motivation is going down very, very quick. So I really like this. It's beautiful, but it's not real. So I have my issues with that. If this one were real, with a real blade, with a real stick that's also oval from the cross section wise, and really made to be used, not in a training sense but in a real fighting sense, I would love that. But yeah, I haven't found one yet, so that's that. Let's have a look at the battery. Oh, great, still going strong. So we already had 2 times. Let's go for the 3rd time. Cut, 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 block, cut, pose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ha! Whew. I always use my shadow on the ground to see how the blade is oriented. Ha! Ha! Whew! Ha! 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 I'm just joking around. Usually, touch the ground with the blade. Usually you don't do ha movement. Hook, cut, that. Okay, that was not too bad. Not too bad. It's really cool to see the winter actually, at least once this year, in its full glory. So like, you have like icicles hanging from the benches and stuff, which is really cool. Of course it's not comparable to a real winter in Austria or in the Alps or in Switzerland, but at least a little bit, right? At least. I think I have to go through it a little bit slower. Not too quick. I'm rushing it. Let's focus on not doing powerful cuts, but making the movements correct. Same with the speed. Yeah, I think that's something a smart person would do. Let's see if I'm a smart person. Maybe I start a little bit more here. I'm uncertain if I should do deep stances or not. Well, it's hard to do deep stances with this weapon anyway, so I might not have to. Okay, let's go again. Movements precise. Still unbalanced. Not so bad. Not too bad. Yeah. How are you guys? How are you doing? Write it in the comments. I'm doing good, thanks for asking. It's really not that easy, this weapon. So, especially in modern wushu, this is already a heavier version of the real weapon. Wait, not of the real weapon, but of the practice weapon. So nowadays wushu, only very little people use heavy weapons to train with this, to train this weapon, because the focus is set on the taolus, not on the weapons anymore, or not on realistic depiction of ancient martial arts or warfare anymore. In lots of cases, not in all cases. Like, there are also a few very good ones, and the issue with that is this is not even the real weight, but this is still already one of the heavier ones in today's wushu practice. And the ones that other pupils use to train are a lot lighter, so like something like 1.5 kilos or 2 kilos, which is a lot easier to do, especially the jumps and all these movements. You need a lot less shoulder strength and stuff. So I'm already glad that I have it, and it's that exhausting to practice with it. Although it might not look like it, I think. I hope that it doesn't look like it, that I'm exhausted, but I am. Let's go through it lightly again. Very lightly. So that's really something that improves your wushu overall. It's like riding a bicycle or walking or running. The more often you do it in all different kinds of variations, the more proficient you become doing it. So even if you just do it like this, you still swing the weapon around, and this swinging around makes your body teach how the weapon, or teaches your body how the weapon behaves, how you have to handle it, and all of these things. So that's why going through it lightly serves a big purpose. You don't get exhausted as much, but you still get quite a lot of benefits. See, right now I almost just did the wrong movement because I didn't think, and that's something that I have to train to a point of proficiency with this set, where this doesn't happen anymore, where I can talk doing it and then continue through the whole set without having to think about it. That's at least the goal for now, because if I can do that, I can really focus on making the movements perfect, especially when practicing with the hansha, because the hansha is a lot bigger, so I cannot hold it when doing these spinning movements at chest height. I have to hold it at shoulder height, so spin it like this, which makes it a lot harder to actually handle this weapon. I'm very excited about that, actually. Like this, like this, like this, and like that. Great. Not so bad. What does the battery say? Half. Great. Let's say at least 2 more times. I think that's manageable. If I do one more time very light, just as I did right now, because that's not that exhausting, and then one last time like the last time I did. So not too quick, don't rush it, and just focus on making the paths, the movement paths and patterns correct. And that's one thing that is very prominent in a very big point and learning point in wushu and traditional Chinese martial arts, I think, is relaxing. Most people always think, oh, martial arts, I have to put like all my power into each and every punch. I have to put all my strength into one strike with my weapon and stuff. But that's not the case. It's quite the opposite. It's almost never the case, almost. Of course, there are certain points where you really have to like go all in, but these are the least of cases that there are. So that's something I always have to tell my students as well. The first thing is always like, relax, don't use force, don't use power. And I think the power that's generated in wushu if you make a difference between force or power and speed, is speed. It's not power. You don't need to put in like strength into your. Oh, that's a strength. You need to put strength in your punches. You need to put speed in your punches. And I think that really shifts the understanding, especially for Westerners, from a speed point of view, for like from a, like I have to put strength in it, to I need to be quick. And when trying to be quick, you cannot put strength in it, or at least you cannot put strength in what we are preconditioned to think about under strength into it. Because when you want to put strength in it, you tense up and you cramp up everything, all the muscles that you have, all your body, to put your whole body's weight and force into it. But that's not what we want in wushu. We want to be very loose. And yeah, so if you're practicing wushu or anything else, maybe try it. Try to, the next time you practice movements, and especially where you have punches and kicks and stuff, to not think about strength, but to think about speed. At least for me, I realized that, and for my students, I realized that that's one thing that like made a huge improvement for me and for all of them as well. So that's my tip of the day. Okay, I said 2 more times, right? Then let's stick to it. Let's go through it lightly. Not deep stances, not too quick movements, just making the patterns correct. And also the coordination. That's the most important thing. Oh, the sun is warm. Right now, I'm almost not thinking about the movements anymore, which is great, but still not where I want to be. See? No, I forgot. Ah! So, transitions are something that you always have to practice. Yeah, good, I think. And one thing that I really like about this weapon, which is like the biggest selling point for me to practice this weapon, it looks so amazing. Just holding it, standing with it like this, that's just, it gives so much authority. Also that it's like, you know, barely as high as I am, having it like here in a low position on the ground, and then still having kind of my back protected. It's not just like a Dao, you also have the spike at the end here, and with a hansha it's a lot more prominent, because like right now it's like this, it's very, let's say, vertical, but the hansha is a lot bigger and longer, so I have to hold it like this, and it extends like this. But let's say that's the tip of the hansha where I'm holding it, or something like this, then this spike extends to up here, so this looks even more like a lethal weapon, or something that enforces respect. Something that's associated with warriors. Yeah, that's why I like this weapon a lot. Okay, one last time. 7 repetitions is not that much, but hey, it's a heavy weapon, so I think it's okay if I only do 7 reps per training session. Okay, not too quick, no force, no power, no strength, let's say it that way, no strength. No speed, no strength, but correct paths, movement paths, patterns, whatever. I have to slow down. Slow down. Really have to say to myself. Here. Great. Not so bad. Still needs practice. What else? Yeah, that was quite successful. Oh, sorry. You could say. Let's cool down a little bit before I get cold. Oh, or stretch. Let's say that. Let's stretch. Oh my goodness, the sun is really warm. So yeah, I think actually this weapon, the Guan Dao, is really hard to master because it's big, it's heavy, and as you've just seen, it was really hard for me to get the 7 reps in, the 7 repetitions. Although it's not that, you know, the movements aren't that sophisticated or complicated or anything, but like I think your foundations need to be really good, and then you still need to practice a lot. So the requirements of basics and foundations that you already need to have, plus the individual things that you need to be good at with doing this, practicing this weapon, are like in combination, both of them is like you need to really, they add up to a lot. That's what I want to say. I'm sorry. Now it really makes sense why the Guan Dao and the spear are like high level weapons in Kung Fu or traditional Chinese martial arts or Wushu. But like the more I'm online and around people, they always say that wushu is like the modern thing, but like, no, it's actually not. Wushu is just a old term for traditional Chinese martial arts. Oh yeah, that's how it is. Let's open the shoulders and the chest a little bit, where this thing comes in handy quite well. Ooh. Let's switch sides so that the weight is on both sides equally. Wow. Oh, oopsie. Sorry. Oh. Ha. Oh yeah. Especially after practicing this weapon, the upper body tenses up quite a lot because you need a lot of strength to wield it and to swirl it around. So relaxation is the goal. Oh my, what? Ah, there you go. I just thought I'm not able to reach my hand anymore. Okay. That was a good training, I think. It was a good session. I think it was really good because like the last few trainings I only practiced Baji and Jian, and to bring a little bit of change into the training pattern is, I think, very good, especially when one of the main goals is to memorize the sets. I think that's very good then, because one thing that I realized that's really good if you have like memorizing tasks is if you reach a certain point in memorization of the movements that you know you don't forget them completely, but you still have little hiccups like which movement was the next? Oh yeah, it was this one. If you have these situations, of course repetition is very good, but one thing that's also very good is to not do these repetitions after each one another, because then your brain gets somewhat in a lazy kind of state. So it's good to surprise your brain and your body and be like, okay, you know what, it wasn't planned, I didn't know that, but like now it's the time to demand this information, and then you save the movement patterns in the set and how the movements should be done a lot more in a deeper layer of memory storage, I guess, because your unconsciousness knows that you might need those movement patterns, you might need this information at any point in time. So I think that's why if you really want to cement a Taoru or a set into your body, into your brain, it's like at the beginning you want to practice a lot, like really just this, focus on it in the span of like 1 month, you could say. And then after that month, slowly practice also other things, and then slowly take the consistency away, but like not from like, don't do a hard cut, so like train for 1 month and then half a year or 1 year don't practice this Taoru anymore, but like maybe then do it twice a month or once every week, and then twice a month and then once a month and something like this. That way you can really cement that, like you will not forget it anymore. It will be set in stone in your brain. And I think that's finally the end goal, because one of the most embarrassing things in training traditional Chinese martial arts is if you forget the sets that you've learned, because that's like very disrespectful to your teacher and the whole art itself. So for all of you out there who practice traditional Chinese martial arts, don't forget your sets. That's like so disrespectful. And I'm saying that because I forgot a lot of my sets. Like, yeah, and I didn't realize that it's like that disrespectful, but it really is. it's like because it just shows that you're not 100% into it. Like, you don't need to be 100% into it, but at least you need to see the value in it. And if you give it some value, you will not forget them, because then you see it as something valuable and something that needs to be treasured. Yeah, as I said, I've done that, so that's the reason why I'm putting so much emphasis on not forgetting the Taolus. And also, I don't have that much, let's say, tolerance to people who forget their sets, because I know that it's just diligency that, or like yeah, you just need to be diligent, and that's like the lowest, or the basic of showing respect to something you do. And if you don't do that, that means you don't really want to. And so if people forget the things, the sets I teach them, I'm understanding, but still I tell them that it's their own fault. And most of them, luckily, most of my students know that it's completely their own fault, and they also say, like, yeah, it's my own fault. And yeah, so don't forget your sets, practice them, at least go through them once a day or something, if you really are struggling with memorizing one set. And once a day going through it, that's like, you don't need to go through it like hardcore and very tense. You just see how I did the sets just now. It's like very easy. Just practice it very light. You don't need to do deep stances. You don't need to go deep anywhere. You can just walk through it basically, and do it very just to memorize it. And then it will take like 1 month, and you've memorized the whole set. So yeah, even if you're a person who says like, yeah, I just cannot memorize these things, no, it's really just diligence. You just need to be diligent. Just do it once a day. Done. You will never forget it anymore. Do it once a day for 1 month, and see where you've come after that 1 month. Easy. Okay. See you in the next video. Bye.